Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Lenore Zuck Hughes, 1968 Trip Around the World, Part 1. This was originally published as Zuck Family Memories Collection, or ZFMC number 20, published on June 21st, 1989. This is the first half of the trip that Lenore, who was my father's mother's sister, the trip she took with her husband Dale. And today's part includes San Francisco, Hawaii, Japan, Hong Kong, South Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, and India. Okay, let's get started. Excuse me. March 24th, 1968. We left Columbus at 10:35 a.m. this Sunday morning. John and Maurice took us to the airport. We had a 15-minute wait in Chicago, then on to San Francisco. Had a good hotel, St. Francis, right downtown. March 25th, 1968. We looked in all the stores, Gumps, etc., then went to Fisherman's Wharf, where we boarded a boat for a ride around the bay. We visited the import shop on the wharf, bought some brass items, a kettle, a fish, a butterfly, and a fish ashtray, and had them sent home to the studio. We really had the royal treatment on BOAC. The four of us were the only first-class passengers. Had two stewards, two stewardesses to ourselves. A double seat to sleep, were dined and wined for sure. We arrived at the Royal Hawaiian at 11 o'clock p.m. March 26th and 27th. The Royal Hawaiian is the sumptuous place to stay. Had breakfast overlooking the beach. Shopped and departed for the airport by private car at 11:15. Boarded BOAC for our flight to Tokyo at 12:15. This is a 9-hour flight. Such food, drinks, etc., we were saturated. We arrived in Tokyo at 5 o'clock p.m. The time differential between Marion, Ohio, and Tokyo is 14 hours. We lost a day. The temperature is 44 degrees. They have torn down the Frank Lloyd Wright part of the Imperial Hotel. The ground is completely cleared. We went right to bed at 7 o'clock p.m. with no dinner. We are still loaded with food from the constant eating on the plane. We moved a day forward because of crossing the international date line. March 28th, Tokyo. Going shopping today. Not going with our group for the city tour. The weather is mild and sunny. Had a fine day's shopping. And sent packages to Estelle and John at the studio. March 29th. We got to Nikko by train today. The train ride was delightful. Refreshments served en route. We went through the farming area, flat lands on into the mountains. Nikko is a small mountain town, and the shrine we visited is one of the most beautiful in the world. The carving of the three monkeys, see no evil, speak no evil, and hear no evil, is on the frieze of the temple barn. Many people were in the shrine, Japanese schoolchildren, etc. We went on up the very mountainous road, hairpin curves galore, to Lake Chunsi, where we had lunch. Visited Dragon Head Falls, and on to tour a typical samurai Japanese home, owned by the Nikko Kanaya Hotel, over 200 years old. Our food has been delightful at our hotel, and the view from our room window is great. Very high snow-covered mountains to the north. Tomorrow we return to Tokyo by train, then on to Kamakura and Hakone National Park by bus. March 30th. We left our hotel at 9 o'clock a.m., visited a farm home, boarded the train for Tokyo, where we got a bus for the trip to Hakone National Park. We had our lunch at Yokohama, poor, then on in the rain through traffic that was awful along the seacoast to Miyanotoshita, late because of a road repair traffic jam and heavy rain. We saw the place where Dale bought our stone lantern. We arrived at our hotel, Fujuja, at 10 minutes to 8. There are hot mineral springs in this area, and we have this mineral water in our hotel room, so we'll have a good soak. Bed at 9 o'clock p.m. March 31st, Sunday. Our hotel here at Hakone Park is very old, built in 1883. Unusual looking with beautiful gardens, a number of swimming pools, and excellent food. Today has been a very full day. Started out by bus for Lake Hakone, where we took a cable car ride over the sulfur pits, then a boat ride on the lake to Hakone Hotel, where we had our lunch. By bus again to Fujuja Hotel, and on to Odawara to get the bullet train for Kyoto. This train averages over 100 miles per hour, reaching a speed of 125 miles per hour most of the way, and is controlled out of Tokyo by radio. April 1st. We visited the Golden Pavilion and Garden, the Lacquer Factory, and the Hein Shrine and lovely garden where sayonara was made. The weeping cherry trees were just ready to burst into bloom. This garden is one of the world's loveliest. After lunch, we visited Inaba Cloisine Factory and bought several ashtrays. We bought the loveliest double cherry triad at a shop in our hotel, just gorgeous. We met the boy in our dining room that Dale and I had known 2 years ago at the International Hotel. He is now captain of the dining room, said he might come to the States, and surely would see us if he did. Excuse me. Excuse me. April 2nd, a real fine day. Had a tour of beautiful temples in the morning and shopped in the afternoon. We found the antique shop Yohoyama, where we had purchased candlesticks, etc. in 1966. We bought a lovely statue made of marble of Oahu, 4 trivets and a pair of heron, and had them sent. Then we went to a department store where we got a package of 3 muslin carp to fly at our cottage in Michigan. These carp are flown in Japan on May 5th in honor of Boys' Day. We have had fun. Completed our day with a sukiyaki dinner on the Japanese side of our dining room. April 3rd. Off to Hong Kong at 10:30 a.m. on Cathay Airways. A stop on the way at Taipei, Taiwan. It surely is nice to be back in Hong Kong. In the Golden Lotus dining room, they had a classical Chinese orchestra. Very lovely. Different instruments, all string, except the flute and one other. We stopped right away, sent sweaters and purses home. What a place this is! The orchestra in the main dining room is really classical Chinese. Plays the strangest music. A leaflet telling about the instruments is attached. April 4th. Because of Cathay flight change, we leave Hong Kong a half day early, cutting our shopping time short. So Dale and I are not going on the tour of the island with the group. We had a great lunch, shopping, not much business in any of the shops. So we got sweaters from $7 on up along Nathan Road. Also bought beaded purses galore. We went over to the big pier where the cruise ships land. Over 100 shops there selling everything, and had a ball. April 5th. The early morning of the day we left Hong Kong, Dale and I suffered from a bug, a real dilly. We stopped at the airport in Saigon, South Vietnam. Editor's note, now Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, for 30 minutes en route to Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Military aircraft everywhere. We never saw anything like it before. We talked to many of our boys at the airport. Excuse me. All know just when their tour of duty was over. All were anxious to go home. When we landed at Phnom Penh, Cambodia, Dale and I both felt pretty bad. Got a hotel room and rested while the other tour members toured the city in the heat. On to Siem Reap late afternoon. April 6th. Siem Reap, Cambodia. Angkor Wat is located right outside of town, a truly unbelievable ruins of a civilization which disappeared overnight. The hotel is very good, air-conditioned. We leave for Bangkok, Thailand at 2 o'clock p.m. Not too long a flight by prop jet. April 7th, Bangkok, Thailand. Siam International Hotel is the best one we've had so far. The weather is hot, 100 degrees. But we don't mind as our hotel is completely air-conditioned. We had the doctor last night for Dale. He arrived 10 minutes after I called him. Seemed to know his business. Dale and I skipped the river trip this morning, just rested, and took the afternoon trip to the temples. Bought bracelets and stone rubbings. The doctor's charge, including 3 kinds of medicine, was $13. The hotel manager sent a lovely fruit basket for Dale, wishing him a speedy recovery. Dale talked to Chauncey's daughter on the phone. I wish we had had time to go out to see her. At least we had a good telephone conversation with her. April 8th. The sightseeing today was at the Royal Palace with its temples that are the most beautiful in the world. One of them holds the Emerald Buddha. What infinite patience it has taken these Thai people to fabricate these temples with the many god statues, huge grotesque figures, temple daions, just like a fairy tale. On the way back to our hotel, we stopped at a jewelry store where Dale bought me a gold bracelet, a real beauty. We leave tonight shortly after midnight for Calcutta, India, so we are having a nap before dinner. April 9th. We arrived in Calcutta, India at our hotel at 5 o'clock a.m., not too tired as we have been having a lot of rest. We went right to bed and slept until 10 o'clock a.m. and had breakfast in our room. After lunch, we started out for a bus trip into several villages on an air-conditioned bus. Honestly, India is beyond belief. Filth, crowds of people, cattle roaming the streets, and hot, over 100 degrees. Our hotel is old but satisfactory. Plenty of hot water and air-conditioned rooms. Catherine saw a baby, brand new, that evidently was born right on the street. We find it hard to believe that people can live in these conditions. April 10th. Our city trip this morning took us to the Jain Temple, across the Holy River, down to the waterfront where the ocean-going ships land. We saw all sections of this crowded city, the 4th largest in the world. Our food has been good here. This afternoon we take an Indian Airways flight to Benares. The Indians are not good craftsmen, are just plain dirty. Our flight was a prop jet, smooth and lovely. We arrived in Benares at 6:30 p.m. and were at Charles Hotel, 14 miles from the airport at 7:15. We saw elephants, camels, donkeys, all carrying loads on our way in from the airport. April 11th. What a day. We got up at daybreak to go to the river Ganges, where we took a boat ride of 3 hours to see the pilgrims making their morning prayers, bathing and worshiping at the river, hundreds of them. The traffic in this city of 600,000 people is like you never have seen. Bicycles by the thousands, donkey carts, sacred cattle roaming at will, beyond belief. This city seems cleaner than on our previous trip. Benares is the holy city of India, and once in every Indian's life, he must make a pilgrimage to this holy city. We saw leprous beggars by the dozen as we walked to the Ghat, where we boarded the boat for sightseeing. Our ride took us very close to the shoreline, and we saw at least 4 bodies being cremated at the burning Ghat, 3 others laying on the steps ready for cremation, and one we saw tied to a stone slab to be taken to the middle of the river to be buried in the water. How deep this religion is instilled in the masses of people. We visited the university, the bazaars, the monkey temple, and the golden temple, and rode on an elephant, and we'll see a yogi and a snake charmer this afternoon before we leave by plane for Agra. We arrived in Agra, India at 10 o'clock p.m. and then had our late dinner. April 12th. We got started at 10 o'clock a.m. for sightseeing, the Red Fort first on the list. What a great time these old Muggles had, a regular kingdom, with the king having 2 wives and 400 girls to amuse him. Play hide and seek and human parcheesi. This old fort with moat and drawbridge housed the Pearl Mosque, court, and palaces, and it surely is in a good state of preservation. From the Yosemite Tower, the view of the Taj Mahal is gorgeous. On the way back to the hotel, we visited the Baby Taj, quite an extraordinary mosque. Afternoon saw us on our way to the Taj Mahal, which we visited last night to have a view by moonlight. Full moon shed a beautiful light on the Taj, very romantic. We were very lucky on our timing as to the moonlight visit. By daylight, however, the real beauty of the exquisite structure can be realized. Inlaid cornelium, lapis lazuli, Indian jade, and agate fashion the delicate flowers, thousands of them, and the carved marble looks like polished ivory. This is the tomb of Queen Taj Mahal, and the king took 22 years to build it with 15,000 workers. Marble was hauled by ox cart over 200 miles. It was designed by a Persian architect. Inlaid work was accomplished by Italians and was built under the supervision of a Turk. There are wild parrots at Agra by the hundred. We have enjoyed watching them from our hotel room window. April 13th. Last night we took the plane from Agra to New Delhi, and early this morning we again were on a flight for Kashmir after a good night at the Oberoi International Hotel in New Delhi, India. The jet flight from New Delhi was 1 hour and 10 minutes. Kashmir is as lovely as the travel folders say. The fruit trees, apple, cherry, and almond are all in bloom, and the snow-covered mountains frame this beautiful valley. We have a quaint houseboat for the 4 of us, with living room, porch, sun deck, dining room, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and food pantry. Also a boat to take us back and forth as often as we want. We visited the Shalimar Garden with its many fountains and flower beds. It is springtime here. Our houseboy does everything for us and serves our food, which is excellent, beautifully. He builds fires in the stoves, very cozy. My, this is fun. We went to bed at 8 o'clock and slept through until 8 o'clock. April 14th, Easter Sunday. We had a storm in the night, and this morning the sky is gray and it is raining. Our houseboat is cozy and warm. We took our little boat, it is like a gondola with curtains, to the shore, where we started to see the carpet factory. Kashmir Oriental carpets are the world's finest, and it was a sight to see entire families working at one loom, reading complicated directions like a chant. Youngsters only 5 or 6 years old working as fast and as accurately as grown-ups. The carpet we bought is 4 feet by 6 feet, a real beauty. 400 knots in every square inch for $250. We can expect delivery in late July. To be continued. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Lenore Zuck Hughes, 1968, Trip Around the World, Part 1, with her husband Dale. Good luck to you with your efforts in family history. And if this interests you, finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, and photographs, and interviewing elderly relatives while they're alive. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.